Okay.
Hello!
All right.
Everybody, we're live! Welcome to another exciting Patreon AMA!
Woo!
You bring the questions, we bring the answers.
That's how this works.
What's up, people? So good to see you guys. If you can't tell, Gabrielle's upstairs. You just didn't feel like being next to us. No, my
We're very
bedroom
smelly.
is not that nice. Travel is a thing that happens in life sometimes.
No,
So,
I'm joining Zach and Sarah remotely this month. I'm actually in Seattle right now for a friend's wedding.
Yes. So.
Yeah,
But we can still see him and Tiffy. So the best of all possible worlds.
that's right.
I, however, can't see Tiffy. So.
Ah.
Missing out, bro. Missing out. But so good to see you guys.
Yes.
We got so many questions
Dude, yes.
from y'all this month.
Before we jump into questions, though, as always, kind of just like our standard issue spoiler warning.
Important
We're
stuff.
going to consider everything that has been released so far, up to and including the Hiccups game, which came out last Monday, as fair game for spoilers, for dissection, for analysis, for anything. So if you're not caught up and you care about experiencing the story unblemished, now is the time to perhaps bookmark this link and come back to it.
It will live
later on.
forever.
It'll be here in perpetuity.
But if you don't care about spoilers, we're going to answer some spoilery questions.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm going to spoil all the facts.
Yes. I can't wait.
Only spoilers for things that have come out so far, Zach.
Oh, yes. All the currently publicly available facts.
Yeah. No. Don't tell anyone about...
Mwah.
I mean,
No.
Oops.
No one heard anything.
Oh,
Zach,
boy.
please ask a question.
So, yeah, questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Wow. Okay, I'm going to... Something a little more general.
Okay.
Slides Gabrielle and Sarah all the money.
Okay.
Backstory for the bartender from Things That Break Other Things, please.
No,
No.
only because that
he
man
has such
is
an
going to be the
interesting
subject
life.
of our next series
Right.
after Wolf 359 is
This
over.
was
We
a
have to save
backdoor
it.
pilot. You guys don't know it yet.
Mr. Icy Booze.
He's a
That
bartender.
day changed his life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How'd it
Icy
change his
Booze
life?
is a great phrase. He says it all the time now.
Yeah, there's no backstory on the bartender. He is
No,
the
that man
bartender.
is beyond time.
No.
Like, he just is.
He just
doesn't
exists.
begin, he doesn't
And
end.
no.
He's always been at that bar.
And he is the job. Like, he has
Oh, yeah.
no identity himself. He is the bar and the tending.
No.
That icy booze ain't gonna serve itself.
No, sir.
Zach, you play the man. Any insights into who this guy is?
Well, he's had a troubled life,
Yeah?
but it's been filled with remorse. In addition to joy, which is sad, but also realistic.
So what I'm
that
getting...
sounds like a bartender.
What I'm starting to realize is that wherever this bar that Jacoby wound up in, it's like the opposite of Cheers. It's like woes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like everybody
I mean,
goes there.
Mega
Jacoby
Cheers.
on that day would go to a bar called Woes.
Woes. Yeah, it's true.
You're like, this is for me.
Is it like Woes, like WOES? Like basically you just flip the M in Moe's Tavern from
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Simpsons?
And get a more accurate name, correct.
Yes.
Right, and like real life Moe and not animated is probably just really sad. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so we're gonna jump in the weeds. This is Whiplash Questions with Zach Valenti. This is my MC style, my aesthetic. In episode 32, Controlled Demolition, I got the impression that Kepler had at least some passing respect for Eiffel. I thought so too, says Eiffel. After the revelations from Theta Scenario, It appears it was all an act.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Eiffel is made out to be incompetent since partway through season 2, and there doesn't seem to be anything that completely redeems him skill-wise. You might be onto something.
That's
Minkowski,
the actual question.
Lovelace, Hilbert, Kepler, Maxwell, and Jacoby all have their own competencies, but it seems that outside of being the moral compass of the crew, there isn't much to Eiffel. Am I completely reading this wrong?
Well, so there's a lot of different things to unpack there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alicia, for those kind words. Somebody appreciates talent around here. Sorry.
Life imitates art.
Continue with the actual
Imitates
answer.
life.
Ignore me.
So, so as far as Kepler's appreciation of Eiffel goes, I think that there is I come back to that moment that Eiffel and Jacoby have in
34, yeah.
Yeah, in A Matter of Perspective, where Eiffel sort of asks him, like, if there's some kind of evil alternate purpose. And Jacoby kind of goes like, oh, Kepler always has, like, 6 different things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were trying to do with Kepler especially, and the entire SI5 to a certain degree when they came into Season 3, is they had a very specific way of approaching all the characters in the Hephaestus crew as they sort of like gained their respect. And certain characters like Hilbert and Minkowski, I think, were dominated in a way that characters like Eiffel and Hera were more
Flattered.
seduced and more sort of like approached in that respect of what is the thing that these people don't have? What is the thing that these people have never gotten? And I think that a lot of sort of Kepler giving Eiffel that respect came from the same place as Maxwell giving Hera sort of that sense of respect and that sense of, equality. That this is something that like both of these characters have been denied for so long. As far as how competent Eiffel is, I think that you need to only look at Mayday to sort of show that, like, to sort of see that, like, the man is, like, very resourceful when he needs to be.
Yeah.
And he can, in a pinch, develop some pretty intense technical capabilities. And it's usually true that the more dire that a situation is, and the more that is at stake, the more Eiffel's kind of hidden talents come out. The problem is usually that, like, as soon as there isn't a life or death emergency, he tends to fall back on needing to amuse himself or needing to sort of, like, find a sense of conflict in his life, whether he does that consciously or unconsciously. And that can often have an obfuscating effect on how competent he is on everyone around him.
Right. Yeah, I guess, like, in my experience playing the dude, he's just kind of in, like, he's careless in a way that he's not an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's maybe, I don't know, sort of like willfully defiant in a way that reads as lazy. Like willfully, like,
it's his way of sort of asserting himself.
Right.
And it's his way of protesting what he
Yes.
feels are the injustices around him.
Right.
Yeah. And I think he has, like, some discomfort with being perceived as a competent person of authority.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And so when it is a life or death crisis and he needs to step up, he will. When it is not, he will go back to feeling comfortable, which for him is cracking jokes and sort of not doing the star charts and that sort of thing.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I think that in most cases, Eiffel's...
Wait. Star charts? What star charts?
Tell you
You
later.
never heard anything about any star charts?
Tell you later.
But like, I think that in most cases, our guiding compass is he is the dude who blows off updating the star charts.
Yep.
Not the dude who tries his darndest and puts in an entire 2 days and then
And-
screws up updating the star charts.
Yeah.
Sort of like, it's a much more, I think, accurate adjective is insubordinate rather than incompetent.
Sorry, the chat makes me laugh.
I cannot see the chat at all this time out.
Ooh.
Secrets.
I have no idea of knowing what they're saying about me.
I wonder if I send you this link.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Anywho, let's see. Do you guys have any strong visions of what the characters look like in your heads? Obviously not canonical. Bonus points if anyone draws theirs B-. No, that's a smiley face wearing sunglasses.
Sunglasses. Got it.
I can't speak for anyone else. I have a very, very strong opinion and a very, very strong mental image of what everyone looks like. And oftentimes they're very different from their performers. I will never breathe a single word to anyone about what my image of the characters look like.
Yeah, I'm sort of in that place too. Some are more vivid than others. But they're all there. They're all hanging out.
I basically just see slightly more age appropriate and height / build for military purposes appropriate versions of the people that I play with and against.
Right.
Makes sense.
For the fact that I'm with them the whole time.
Makes sense.
And it's fun to listen to because it's I kind of get a different sort of thing in my head. But anyway, yeah, I can see it differently when I'm listening and reading in a way that I can't when I'm rehearsing. And that's definitely colored it over time. I think I had a different sort of vision of, especially Hilbert early on. I think my characters I see differently. And obviously Hilbert, I have a much stronger sort of image for, especially because he's one of the few people that we have some canonical.
Yeah, we have a few
talk of.
notes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so this starts with an apology. Sorry if you guys have had this question before. This is my first AMA. Welcome! High five.
So glad to have you here.
No, this is awesome.
That was good stereo.
We try.
We've been working on it. But that was totally improv.
It was.
No problem. Thanks for saying that, but it's not like it puts us out to answer. It's
Yeah.
chill. And we'll if it's something that's been asked a million times, we'll say so. But
Anyway,
have you ever felt like you've wrote yourselves into a corner or got stuck in some sort of double bind on a plot point? And if so, how did you write your way out? We'll let you know when we get out.
I think something that has been asked before.
Yeah, not at all.
no, this is
a
a
more
new
innovative
question. So excellent job.
And there's a reason that we created a finale. It's because we've been trapped in this thing since we started, and the only way out is through. No.
I am firmly of the belief that most of the time what feels like you being written into a corner is often what leads to your more interesting ideas and your more interesting breakthroughs. With that said, I'm struggling to think of a time when we were really, really stuck.
Yeah. I mean, it
I
does. Or go ahead.
Go ahead, Claire. No, please.
It certainly does happen in outlining where you have a point A and a point B, and how are you going to get from one to the other, and it can be maddening to sort of work that out. But I don't think we've ever done anything where we've written something and then we're like, oh no, how are we going to deal with this? That's always sort of the exciting part.
Right. And that's, I think, as writers, we all respond really well to kind of that puzzle-solving aspect of you need to come up with a satisfying plot turn that hits all of the following 7 items. I think that there's a lot of stuff that has kind of grown organically out of a lot of the limitations.
Yeah.
Like something that I can think of is, um, you know, there's a lot of, I think, chatter in the fandom about how it seems that Cutter doesn't age or has stayed the same age for a very, very long time. And I think that that kind of came about out of, more than any conscious decision, out of a sense of, well, we really want Cutter to have been the person that recruited all of these people, and we really want Cutter to have been the nexus between all these people. And you kind of then run into, wait a minute, on the one hand, we cast Scotty Shoemaker, who is amazing at the job, but sounds like someone distinctly in his early to mid-20s, not someone later in life. And then on the other hand, we know that Hilbert got recruited around the end of the Soviet Union. So how
do
can
we
these
square
both
that
be the
circle?
case?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what if Cutter isn't as young as he presents? What if this is in fact a much older person? And that, I think, kind of came out of that particular corner. I feel that there's other times when we've had to sort of like square something.
And yeah, there's stuff, I mean, Cece Lynn Jacobs coming into the show as a main cast member. That was something that had to be squared.
Right.
There have been challenges like that.
Yeah. Right, I think that the thing that helps us to not really feel like we've painted ourselves into a corner is before we start writing the season, we always kind of know where it's going to end. So it's very hard to kind of accidentally write something where you kind of go like, oh, Christ, now the ending isn't going to work out later on. Because you always sort of know which way you're heading.
Yeah. I have to write this guy that when I write him, I have to do sounds that hurt my throat.
That's your choice.
And more or less,
I've brought it upon myself.
You have to write him.
Help! I'm trapped in this corner of belching and screaming. Which also, new title for my memoor.
Oh god.
Belching and screaming.
Zach
The
Valenti
Wolf 359 years.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Hashtag belching and screaming. Pre-order your copy today.
It's very expensive. What's the name of Kepler's funk band?
Oh.
Whatever you want it to be.
Ask,
brother.
yeah.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. Zach Libresco is the only man who could answer that question.
Yes. It's whatever you want it to be, unless Zach Libresco tells you it's something. Then it's whatever Zach Libresco tells you it is.
Yeah.
What did Kepler play in the funk band? Play is all capitalized because you have a sense of tone.
Whatever you want
him
Kepler
to play
in the
unless
funk
Zach
band.
Libresco tells you he played something else. In which case, it's whatever Zach Libresco says he plays.
They're definitely going to score the movie adaptation of Belching and Screaming.
Great. I love that this is a multimedia property now.
Transmedia, only way.
Since Kepler walked away, they've like since transitioned into movie soundtracks.
Right.
That's funny.
Oh boy.
Dear.
Alrighty. Can you say with absolute certainty the Jacoby that we have is the real Jacoby, please stand, and not his alien twin, Wakobi?
Points for Wakobi.
How did you know that name? Why did you hack our hard drives?
No, it's pretty clear. It's original Jacoby, you guys.
Yeah, I would say that, like, especially now, there have been, like, 2 separate episodes of someone who was an alien duplicate getting sort of, having the aliens speak through them.
Connecting with whoever the aliens are.
And in neither case, Jacoby getting affected. I think that is a fairly strong indicator that the Noah Mazer that we have is the original article.
Yep.
Good question. I think that I will never reveal the truth of W'Kobe. They can keep throwing off the scent. But no. I think it's been pretty clear. Let's see. Relevant to the question before last, does Zach Valenti enjoy making burping, wheezing, choking, coughing noises?
Zach.
Enjoy is a strong word. I would say that I like a challenge, and I find that physical challenges are useful for grounding me in character.
Valid.
And it was a lot of fun to whip out my fake burp for that episode, because now it's on the internet forever and nobody can ever take it away. And my 12-year-old self is very proud of that. But
now for the slightly less humble version of that answer. One of the things that I love about the Wolf 359 actors is that they are fearless. Like, we have thrown all kinds of weird
Just
things at them,
bizarre things.
and no one has ever blinked, and no one more so than Zach Valenti. Like, we have tried our hardest to, like, break this man's resolve, but he goes
No.
beyond fearless and into ferocious. And just, like, the commitment to the character and the commitment to the reality of the show and the commitment to just, like, go out there and give it his all and leave it all on the studio floor. It's been really amazing to behold. And just, like, from everything from, like, you know, shaking as, like, you know, he and
yeah.
Kepler fix the engines in Overture, to, like, all of the gargling and dying sounds in Do No Harm, burping in Out of the Loop, to just, like, everything that I put him through when we were doing Mayday, and just, like, all of the different iterations of the character going through that story. He never blinked. He never asked for something less. He was always just like, what does the story need? Let's go and
Yeah.
do it. And that's been amazing to behold over the past 3.5 years.
I really appreciate that, you guys. And
Second.
all I can say is I remember when I first got seriously hurt in soccer, when they stupidly had us all line up in front of the goal while the other team got to kick it in, and, like, no wonder. And the coach made it clear that our job was to sacrifice our bodies for the sport. And I never really got into sports, but acting feels like my athleticism, and I've appreciated the challenge. How many times has Hira imitated someone through the PA?
Oh, no comment.
Ah.
No
That
comment at
would
all.
be telling.
So I will not comment, but I will say this. In a much earlier
Don't
iteration.
spoil the ending that it's all Hira just entertaining herself.
Right.
Right.
Wow, that almost
I
got
will-
out, you guys. Whew.
I will say, this is something that, like, way back in season 1, there was
Oh, this
going
has
to
been
be a
toyed
story
with.
that, like, pivoted much heavily on that. And it was one of those things that, like, got dropped around episode 5, I think. Around episode 5, we all kind of realized, no, the characters are going in a different direction, and sort of this kind of emotional subterfuge that Hero was going to be performing on the other characters
Just
didn't quite
yeah.
make sense anymore.
No.
But since the first season, we've had it in the back of our minds, kind of that, like, idea of Hira can just really imitate someone's voice well. And kind of the only handicap is, can she make it through that without glitching?
Right.
And it wasn't until this episode in season 4 when it was finally like, yes, this is the moment to bring that back from the discard pile.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is always super satisfying whenever we can bring something back that's like been in our heads for a while.
Yeah.
So yes, no, you'd have to ask her. If you don't ask, she won't tell you.
That's so funny.
Theoretically, anything that someone has said through the comms
Could have been
could
Hira.
be Hira.
Yes.
It's all Hero the whole time.
No? Finale. Spoilers. Come on.
It's a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I'll put together my crazy corkboard with all the strings and things. Let's see. I'm gonna find a non-Hero question to follow that up with. Oh, here we go. What is each character's favorite book?
Oh,
Hui
Lord.
and Fourier specifically. Really cool
Huh.
question.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's see.
And just like I flash back to the studio where Beth and Ariel literally held them. It wasn't the book that they were talking about, but like it was just like they were really fighting over books and playing with books. It was just like really cool to see that chemistry and like to see their relationship sort of grow out of storytelling and literature and this sort of like need to stay entertained, but also this like, I don't know. Anyway, I'll shut up and let them figure. I have no idea what books any of these people would read except for Eiffels, which is Everybody Poops.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, really.
Yeah, no, that's spot on.
It's universally
Yeah,
applicable.
interesting. I feel like Fourier would be some sort of English comedy writer. Someone with a good
Yeah.
observational eye. Maybe she likes To the Lighthouse, but maybe not.
Importance of Being Earnest comes to mind.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too far off.
Um,
Sorry, Jamie G is calling you out, Gabrielle. Gabrielle's on his Google game. Decent alliteration.
I'm actually less on my Google game and looking at my Fourier bio document about which
That's
Character-
amazing.
which books I cited
Yeah.
when like I wrote about
Right,
that.
right,
in the
right.
bio.
I know she likes Python.
Yeah, she does like
Um,
Python.
Yeah.
Hui, Frankenstein comes to mind.
Frankenstein's a good one.
Yeah.
Or like Jekyll and Hyde, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, he likes his gothic horror.
Right.
Honestly, I kind of think that Hui tends towards books where the prose is a little bit more overwrought and a little bit more show-offy and a little bit more luxuriant.
Right.
Whereas Fourier leans a little bit more towards like crisp, simple prose, but like really great stories. She might be a Charles Dickens fan.
Oh, she may like Bleak House, is what she may like.
Yeah, like Bleak House may be sort of something
Yeah.
that she really loves.
Yeah.
I really like Rhinoceros Rex idea that Lambert's favorite is a VCR user manual.
It's really thorough. It got me
Right,
through
right.
some hard times, you guys. Come on.
Whereas
I mean, no,
he'll-
like from a Lambert perspective, it's like
This
it's
is the
got
most
everything
useful
you
book.
need. It's really thorough, and it's got nothing that doesn't go directly to like the point that you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah.
Bam.
Done and
Perfect.
They
done.
don't write them like they used to, folks.
Aw.
Whereas like Hilbert, I feel like there's like an out of print virology textbook from like
Right.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia that was like in a rare edition that had a chapter that was deemed too dangerous for the public that is like his prized
Yeah.
possession.
If he liked any literature at all, I think he might have a soft spot for Dostoevsky. But
Okay, I was gonna go
And I mean,
with
and I would believe
some
that like
pop-lit.
it wouldn't be on the nature of species. It would be something like more obscure than that.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would believe that there would be like some non-fiction book on like evolution that he
Right, or
read,
some
and it was just, like,
anthropological study and was just like, this.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I was in the airport and Hunger Games was on sale. What do you want? It's good competition.
Oh.
Yeah.
Future of entertainment looks bright.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Fisher is a good question.
Oh, yeah. He's probably like some sports biography that he would really love. I'm
That would be
guessing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like some soccer players.
curling a history.
No, not curling history, but just like, you know.
Yeah, no,
Like-
soccer is a good.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
real answer.
Right.
Opposed to my bullshit.
Your bullshit is funnier,
I
though.
try.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Minkowski, I think Les Mis. Something like it.
Fisher's not favorite book, but the one that he unfortunately has to use a lot on his ship is Nonviolent Communication.
Yeah. That
Just like
Yes.
the conversations that he was fucking jockeying during that special.
Yeah. No. All the things that he was having to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
referee.
crucial conversations might be another one. Just
Oh,
like,
Lord.
oh boy.
Here we go.
Glad I brought that one on board.
What about Loveless?
I've been trying to think about it for a little
Yeah.
bit.
She's tricky.
And see, in Loveless, I would believe, like, because she is such a flexible character, I would believe that it could be, like, anything from, like, Lord of the Flies to, like, to the Lighthouse.
Yeah. I feel like there's... Something... it's escaping me. She's tough.
Yeah. I think that Eiffel would enjoy Catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Maxwell would really like Ian McEwan, like something like
Atonement. Yeah, something that's
Yeah.
like playing with structure.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe Seven Eves too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kepler might really like a book on Winston Churchill's speeches.
He might like the book on the English that Winston Churchill wrote.
Yeah.
He might be a fan of
that's
Churchill's prose,
awesome.
A History of the English.
Yep.
And then Jacoby would probably say like a comic book.
Right.
Or
Jacoby
the
might be
Anarchist
for Vendetta.
Cookbook.
Yeah. I see him as like a V for Vendetta Watchmen man.
Hope you like
Yep.
sci-fi, NSA.
Yep. Which leaves Hera and Loveless.
Yeah.
Oh, Hera might like Confessions now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
We
I
kinda-
was
we
we
kinda do
kind
have
of
a
we
kind of
teed
an
that
answer
up.
for that.
Yeah, and I think she would be interested in philosophy
Yeah.
generally.
Right. She might get even more out of like Fear and Trembling or
Yes.
like Fragment of Philosophy.
Yeah, or like if it
Those
had to be a
regards.
novel like Siddhartha or something.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to Loveless.
And I'll say 1984 for Loveless.
Hey, good old George Orwell.
Yes.
We solved it.
Nice. Well done, folks. Let's see.
Yeah, we can't really do these like what is every character's favorite blank
It's
anymore
getting long.
with
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
different
yeah.
characters that we now have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what about the bartender?
Nobody asked about the bartender.
I mean, we could still
Tequila
like. I mean, there's still like.
That's the answer to that. Yes.
Yay! Sarah's joined me on the dark side.
It's a good book.
Tequila so good. What is your favorite part of working on Wolf 359?
God.
What's your least favorite part?
Writing and scheduling.
Asked and answered.
Yeah.
Yep.
Working with these folks and then
And actually, I'm gonna be right back. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
do it.
And a kung fu scene breaks out in Gabrielle's hotel room.
Yes. Visibly.
I mean,
Clearly.
give it a second. He's got to get to the door. They're ninjas. They're not ghosts. They can't just pass through the... No. Shut
They
up.
could be
Sorry.
ghosts. You don't
Rare
know.
form. Yeah, they could be ninja ghosts.
You
Wow,
don't
he
know.
leaves for 2 seconds and we get to ninja ghosts. You were saying smart things.
No, I was saying my favorite part is working with everyone who works on the show. It's just getting to be around these people is the best thing. And least favorite part, is any logistical nonsense that we have to do.
Right.
All the producery things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to echo Sarah to say that my favorite part of working on Wolf 359 is the community that sort of emerged, both sort of internally and externally around the show. And I honestly did not expect that. I was expecting my favorite part to be all the sweet voiceover jobs that came out of it, of which there have been a couple. But it really has been just a combination of the sort of family that makes the thing and just like this tribe that sort of cropped up around it, yourselves very, very much included.
Yes.
And yeah, it's been a delight. And I think the least favorite things are like the taxes. Definitely the
Oh, yeah.
taxes. Yeah. Was it a ninja ghost at the door? We went to a place right after you stood up.
It's been a long day.
But I need to know.
What was the question?
Oh, was there a ninja ghost at the door?
Oh, yeah, sort of the person who's sharing this room with me needed something very
Nice.
quickly.
Okay, got it. So not a ninja nor a ghost.
No.
Okay. I'm disappointed, but I'll live.
Sorry, Zach.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. How long is your Patreon going to stay active after Christmas?
This is a good question.
We're not sure. Probably
It's
like a
good
month.
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are exploring a couple of different options about this and
Right.
But as soon as we know, we will let you know.
trying to find literature.
Right. And I think like the crux of the thing is I get the Gabrielle, you seem frozen. You okay?
I'm good. I'm
Okay,
here.
Great. The crux of the thing is that we would feel weird charging y'all's credit cards when we're not making content actively.
Yes.
So unless we can think of something that we could keep doing that probably won't be Wolf, which feels weird because it is Wolf.
Yeah.
So like if you guys have ideas, let us know.
Yeah.
And like ideas that aren't like keep making the next season because we're just not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
But like I don't know, like I don't know, we're looking at like doing other things. We may make a new Patreon at that point. That feels
Yeah,
more
that
natural to us.
Might be what happens.
So right, like if you guys have ideas for how you'd like to see a Patreon continue, I think odds are good that we'll just like have something that we have in mind that maybe even like a per thing that's just sort of like random and just like something that's like, I don't know, when we get around to doing it, it'll be great, like sketch videos or like one-off audio things, and that'll just be a way that we can kind of keep that relationship going. And there'll always be
Yeah.
the merch store, and I think that I'm definitely going to keep live streaming, and I'm not planning on leaving Manhattan, New York anytime soon, and neither of these guys, so like there'll be definitely
Except none of us. Well,
plenty of us
except
to
both of us
connect.
don't live in Manhattan.
New York. Yeah, I'm trying. Anywho,
One of us lives in Manhattan.
wow, can you give me
One
money
of
to make
us.
an audio drop to Tiffy? We should talk. But yeah, we should talk. Anywho,
In any
moving
case.
on.
Yeah.
We'll let
And
you know.
Cool question.
before we move on, the other thing that is worth saying will not be going away is if you scroll down to the bottom of any page on our website, there is a donate button to make a single donate.
Mm-hmm.
So even if after the Patreon eventually closes its
Right.
doors, if newer listeners or even older listeners ever want to sort of like contribute or sort of recompense the cast and the crew for the work they did, that option will always be there.
Yes, that's awesome.
Good to say.
And we're considering like cool stuff that could exist in the store that might be extra special.
Yeah. And
And,
definitely let us know
Yeah.
what stuff you want to see in the store.
Yes, please.
right. And like we've heard of things as crazy as like vinyl records, and like I don't know how that gets made, but like that'd be pretty dope for people
Yep.
who like that. But like so we're thinking. We'd love your thoughts.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Alrighty, let's see. To dive back into the depths, why do AIs go from a numerical name to a mythology name when Goddard decides to use them? And do you all have names for any of the machines that you use, like computers or cars? I'm going to hold my funny answer until we get a serious one from Gabrielle or Sarah.
I don't have funny names for most of my devices.
No.
I had a phase.
I think
so-
I've named like one thing,
Yeah.
but not
So
generally.
the thing to keep in mind with this that maybe is not totally clear within the context of the show is that not all of the AIs that Goddard develops go on to work in
Yes.
space-related jobs. Hira in Back to the Future talks about, if you ace all the tests and you get good scores in people friendliness and human compatibility, you can get cushy jobs like running
A jetliner or
cruises.
yeah.
Yes. And presumably, if you get one of those jobs, you don't get a mythology-based name. You get something else. Mythology seems to be something that they like mine very heavily for.
For the space program.
Yes. With the possible exception of Hyperion, but that AI was very involved clearly with Kepler and special projects in SI5, so it's safe to say that he was destined for life in space exploration.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when AIs are just known as Unit XXX, that is pre-assignment, that is pre them being put in a particular post to do a particular job. After that, they get their jobs, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
They get their non-numerical name.
I see a couple things popping up in the chat. We'll come back to that. Sarah, anything?
Oh no, that was the answer to that question.
Nice. In college, my freshman year roommate and I had a phase where everything had a name.
Bless you.
Our smoke/heat detectors were in a pretty rough marriage that really wasn't working out.
Okay.
Bernice was in my room. She needed a place to crash. It was just a friend thing. Yeah, I think Martha was our fridge. I forget what we named the fan, which I'm so sorry, fan, wherever you are these days. I gave you up at some point. I'll have to ask Michael. But yeah, everything had a fucking name.
Fair enough.
Anywho, how did you know that? What do you name your things? We'll get to that one later.
Okay.
What media have you guys been consuming lately?
Lots of movies.
Yeah.
Lots of movies.
Yeah, if you don't know, if you don't follow
This
Gabrielle on the social media,
Which you should.
this man undertook an experiment. Would you like to explain, Gabrielle?
Yeah, so the crux of it is I'm trying to watch at least one movie a day.
You cut out a little
and
bit.
that is
You cut out a little bit. Just one more time. You cut out a tad.
the crux of it is I'm trying to watch at least one movie a day for at least 100 days.
What day are you on?
And this is 35?
All right.
Something
Nice.
like that.
That's pretty good.
Beast mode.
Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of movies, more than kind of like what I usually am, which is reading a lot of articles and watching a lot of TV.
Yep. That is sort of where I am at. I am watching a lot of TV and reading a lot of comic books at the moment.
Nice. TV all the time. I just finished Shameless, which is Shameless, and a great partner show to watch in tandem with the show Parenthood. If you want
Yeah.
to study in contrast
That is a study in
and
contrast.
a deeper understanding of family drama, dramedies, I think it's a good
Yeah.
back to back. I really like Parenthood, but I really like John H. Macy, not John H.
William H.
Benjamin.
Macy.
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy.
All those short first name, middle name, initial,
Mhm,
other
mhm.
last name actors.
When William H. Macy and
H. John Benjamin,
are
yeah.
put together.
Oh my God, I would watch that show, man. That is my show.
He
But
belongs
yeah,
on Archer.
I just started something called Crashing, which I think you're gonna like, Gabrielle and Sarah.
Okay.
It's fast paced. It's not without its problems, but yeah. Anywho, yeah, I've been drowning in television. It's been dangerous. Oh, and podcasts. I've been listening to a lot more podcasts lately, mostly branded shows, just to get a sense of what the heck is out there and if anything's good. And surprisingly, as somebody who like professionally jokes about how much they don't do sports, There's a sports podcast that's sponsored by Gatorade that's like pretty decent. That's mostly just about like people failing in front of lots and lots and lots of people and what they learn from it.
Right.
And it's useful when you lose $200 worth of magnets and feel dumb.
Oh.
We won't get into that now, but yeah. Follow-up question, totally let's go to the chat. Alicia Workman asks, my friend wants me to ask, how long have you had Hira's anxiety backstory plan?
I mean,
Sorta-
we always knew what the backstory was.
Yeah.
Parts of it have come into focus.
I feel
but-
like pulling the trigger on it happened when we were plotting the back half of season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always sort of been in like milling around in there, and certainly comes out in Pan Pan. But I feel
And
like
even in like Back.
oh
to the
yeah,
Future,
even in Back to the
you hear,
Future.
like her talking about her insecurities.
Yeah, but having it addressed in sort of the head-on way that it is, I think that happened when we were planning season 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think for me, it went from the thing that we intellectually knew to the thing that I emotionally felt. Like the execution was the surprise. Because it's one thing to just like explain, and it's another thing to Memoria.
Yeah.
And
it's
honestly,
funny
that
because,
fell on
I
my
mean-
desk somewhat fully formed. Like that was the like Hira narrated episode placeholder here. I feel for a fair amount of time
Right.
until it became this thing that's making me cry. Why is there water coming out of my face? Is something broken? Oh wait, it's my heart.
It's always been broken, Zach. It's always been
Well, and it's
broken.
funny that you say that like that fell fully formed into your desk because Memoria underwent
So
more heavy
many.
rewrites.
Yeah.
than-
Right, but like I was
Almost.
not privy to those. I was privy to the table read, and it was like heavily rewritten from the table read, but it was like more or less like what it was.
The climax was the same. Like
Yes.
everything
Yes.
past Maxwell realizing that there was this voice whispering in Hira's ear.
that didn't
stayed
change.
pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's everything before that that got more or less thrown out and rewritten since the table read.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is that the part of it that I think is more of the emotional reality that we stumbled upon is what the question kind of refers to as her anxiety backstory. Because one of those, like, the events, we more or less always knew what they were.
Right.
I don't think that I ever thought of it as being directly anxiety or anything else until after we began to see the reaction to Memoria coming out. These are the demons that the character has in her background, and these are sort of like the things that like really haunt her.
Yeah.
Right.
Well said.
Great answer. Jamie G asks from the chat, a question for Gabrielle and or Sarah. Is any part of Kepler's whiskey speech / the writing of Doug's alcoholism inspired by or a nod to Leo from The West Wing? Maybe even specifically in Bartlett for America. The way a glass feels in your hand. A good glass, thick, with a heavy base. I love the sound of an ice cube when you drop it from just the right height. I read a lot.
That's
A
it.
lot of Leo in how Doug explains his past, too. I don't want a drink, I want 10 drinks. Yes or no?
Interesting.
That's a good question.
yeah.
I hadn't actually seen The West Wing when either of those episodes got written, I don't think.
Yeah, I had. Because that was like our family show growing up, was watching The
That's
West
awesome.
Wing. It tells
Yeah,
you a little
great
bit about
show.
my childhood. But,
I sat down to watch The West Wing after this most recent election. That's when I
Yeah.
like finally watched it in full, or almost in full.
but yeah, I don't think I had that consciously in my head with Limbo. As with anything, some things sneak in there without your control.
Yeah.
But no, that wasn't a conscious nod at all.
Yeah, I think that you don't want one drink. You want 10 drinks. That is something that a family member once told me to describe alcoholism. And when I heard it then turn up in The West Wing when I watched it last year, that was one of those moments of like, oh, this, this
Yes.
sort of like, yeah, no, that is exactly the way that I heard it described by someone who like really underwent those problems. And it really did sort of make me feel like, okay, Aaron Sorkin, you did your homework. You really sort of got this the way that like somebody who lived it once described it to me.
Wow. On a
Yeah.
lighter note, how long was Loveless in Groundhog Day mode?
Oh gosh.
Which I guess if you think about it is not lighter at all.
Not at all.
That's
Pretty dark.
that's pretty close to the level of
Makes
darkness.
somebody want a lot of drinks.
I mean,
A lot.
a long time. I suppose if you really wanted to parse that montage of the days that she goes through, you could count them out. But the important thing that it was a long time.
Yeah, and even then, I feel that there's a couple that we don't see. Like, sort of like each burp of Eiffel's is
Yeah.
another day
Oh yes,
that we
absolutely.
don't get to see.
So many
And I mean, it's
verbs.
enough that she's able to get to that level where she's memorized
Oh,
what
yes.
the reactions are going to be. Happens quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So yeah, it was a long time.
I will not burp repeatedly. You're welcome.
Thank you, Zach.
Why would Eiffel not be able to work with Minkowski, as Loveless says in episode 49? I am very concerned.
Oh, they were just still a
Because
little...
they had their spat in the previous
yeah.
episode.
They were just still a little raw from the previous episode. Nothing to be worried about.
Sort of their, like, pretty intense arguments
Yeah.
in Theta scenario.
And one of those things with those two, they tend to distance themselves from each other when they can't handle each other.
Yep. Of course, what's funny is that by the end of Out of the Loop and the arguments that happen at the end of that episode,
Yeah.
that argument in Theta scenario seems outright civil and very,
Respectful.
Yep. But no,
Nice.
that is in reference to their disagreeing vehemently at the end of episode 48. Or over the course of 48.
Yeah.
Word. I have a comment here, not really a question. It just says, hashtag let Loveless be a Galian 2017.
So noted.
20,000? 2,000.
2K17.
2K17. How many of Cutter's aliases does Kepler know about?
Oh, that's a good question.
Hold on,
Probably.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. How many of Cutter's aliases does Kepler know about? Gabrielle?
Ah,
Okay.
Yeah.
good question.
Sweet.
We're not gonna
Yep.
comment.
No,
Yep. No.
that is a good question.
Yep. Good question to ponder.
Did Kepler also experience time loops? Will he help
No.
when he's done being a little shit? Those are two very different questions.
Yeah, he will never be done being a little shit, so
No.
I think that's self-explanatory.
The biggest little shit in the universe.
And I mean, like, it's clear that the whole of the Hephaestus went through loops. He was not aware of them, as far as we
Yep.
can tell.
Yep.
In the same way that the other characters were confronted by Loveless.
Yeah.
Except for that one time where she went and talked to him.
All right, I'm gonna do my best with this.
Okay.
Oh no, this is gonna be hard because Gabrielle, you can't see these things. I'll read the side of it that Gabrielle was requested to read because we're not gonna get it to you in time. But
Okay.
this is,
Well,
hello.
what is this?
Thanks for spending time with us, and have a good day.
Okay.
Thank you, and you're absolutely welcome.
Yeah.
May I ask not a question but a favor?
Oh, this.
Can Gabrielle and Sarah read out the Price and Carter part from Into the Depths? This one. Cutter. Knock knock. Price.
Oh, I'm Price.
Do you remember this well enough, Gabrielle, to do it?
Not off the top of my head, no.
All right.
I suppose
I'll
you could pull up the script, but
do my best.
okay. So I'm
Knock
Price.
knock.
Marcus, what are you doing down here?
Hands papers.
What is this?
Read.
Oh. Oh.
Mm-hmm. It started. We are finally in business.
Well then. Looks like we have some traveling to do. That's why I don't act in the show.
Bum, bum, bum.
You're welcome. Sorry, it wasn't totally your request. Technical reasons.
Distance.
We does our best. Okay, let's see. What are the phobias of the cast and the characters?
Spiders.
Heights.
Or Eiffel.
Right.
Yeah. Ducks. That's canonical.
Right, ducks. Ducks. I had forgotten about that. Oh my god. Ducks and spiders. Yes.
Yes. You could probably infer
Well,
a
what
bunch
did
of
the
phobias.
Noah?
Yes, Noah's bio says that he is afraid of bees, heights, and the dark.
There you go. Yes.
So
there
that's-
you go. Yes.
That's those are
That-
those are phobias.
Is some amount of tongue in cheek, but only some amount.
We have ducks from Alicia Workman in the chat. Also some Sarah Shackett love.
Oh Lord.
You beautiful
Yeah.
tropical fish.
And
Only Anne is a beautiful tropical fish. Oh, but wait. Eiffel's fears, spiders, adult responsibilities. I like that.
Yeah. Hero has some amount of phobia about
Yeah,
price.
she does.
That's just common sense.
And I would say that they all have some trepidation
This is
about
true.
about being alone.
Oh, yes.
What do you mean? Alone is my roommate that I get to set the rules of. It does my dishes. No.
Does it, Dr. Hilbert?
Does
Does
it?
Just keeps getting more and more pathetic.
I do alone dishes every day.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of any phobias in the cast. In the crew that I know about. Or the cast for that matter.
Yeah, no one's really expressed like. Again, we have a very fearless cast.
We do.
Like. Yeah.
We got a chat question. Will we ever hear Gabrielle or Sarah ever make an appearance on the show as a voice, even if it's in the credits?
I don't think so. No.
Probably not. Probably not.
Boo.
No.
There's
Zach-
got to be more bartenders.
Yes.
Zach had a pretty intense campaign back in the early days.
Oh yeah, for you to be Price.
That I should play Price or Cutter. And then we cast Scotty Shoemaker, and then it was like, well, okay. When Price shows up, and we didn't know back then if Price was going to show up for one day somewhere in the background.
Or at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Right. And so there was an idea of like, when Price shows up as a cameo, you should play Price for one line. But then the idea came about of casting Michaela as Price, and I think that the possibilities of me going with the show died.
I was sold.
Yeah.
Sold.
With that.
Alas.
But
They'll be in
I
our
will
next
say,
show,
like,
bartenders. That's right, Alicia.
Lord.
no, I will say Zach made a very good point about like, if you're gonna play anyone, you should play the like evil puppet masters that are like controlling everyone.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that does make a kind of sense. But no.
I don't think so, guys.
Yeah.
Michaela was the more terrifying choice.
Yes.
It's true. It's true.
Demonstrably so.
Oh yeah. Let's see. What about our phobias?
Oh.
That's what I was saying. I don't know a lot of our like cast and crew's phobias,
What
if there are.
Yeah. I'm not huge into heights. But I think I'm way more afraid of like dementia / like zombie-ness.
Okay.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I get a little bit of vertigo, but like that's more of the like physiological response than the like psychological fear of heights.
Yeah, I've got a little fear of heights too. I'm trying to think what else.
I know one that Zach and I share.
Oh.
Roller coasters.
Oh, yeah.
Roller coasters are fun.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're awful.
I literally would rather and have jumped out of a plane than go on a roller coaster.
Well, that's much easier because like you do one thing.
It's also designed.
Oh, here we go. But like, I would much rather jump out of a plane than bungee jump.
Oh my god!
Like
bungee
100%.
jumping. What sicko was like? This is a great idea.
I could see myself bungee jumping in a way that I could not see me riding like a really horrible roller coaster.
I think I would go on the Hulk before I bungee jumped. Honestly,
Okay.
No.
that thing is engineered out the wazoo. The thing that bungee jumping gets me is it's not just going down; it's bungee jumping back up.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like
you
there
can
are
just
walls to
see
hit.
so vividly the long shot of you
Ugh.
like going down and then the rope snaps and like nope.
Yeah, the rope snaps or like you hit the walls. And I know they think about these things, but
No, I
like,
know it's perfectly
I
safe.
think about them more.
No.
I think you froze, Gabrielle, on a very trolly grin of being like, maybe we should get Zach to go fucking jumping on a bungee.
No.
Oh boy.
Well, we may have lost him.
Hotel internet, folks. Never
it
count
happens.
on it.
It happens. Oh, wait.
I can tell.
Kind of coming back,
Little
sort
Is
of.
it coming back?
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there we are.
Yay!
I heard you
Nice.
guys perfectly throughout that.
That's
Great.
funny.
I'm glad.
It could be my end because of the streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Who knows?
Anyway,
So that's fun.
that was fun. Were there still talent shows held under Kepler's command?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Nobody could outperform his whiskey.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
No, he would have no patience for them.
No.
He would judge so
no.
hard.
The second he got on board the Hephaestus, he knew what he was working with.
Yeah.
They had them all the way to the Hephaestus.
And that. Right.
Yeah.
They had the Urania talent show.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it was
God.
breathtaking.
Awful.
Yes.
I'm like Jacoby
No, that's
had
the
like
thing.
a new generation of fireworks that work in space. Like
Totally. No.
There were
They would have not
AIs.
been awful at all. They
No, they would have been
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And like Kepler's watercolors just took everyone's breath away.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no talent shows once they got there. All business all the time.
Yeah, and also, God forbid he sit through Eiffel trying to do anything with talent.
No.
Mhm.
Oh, ow, that got sad.
I mean, we talked about this. Nice. Welcome, Ronnie Gosh.
Hello.
There's no such thing as late around here. All right, let's see. Okay. This is in the voice of whoever's asking. So I was watching this Drink Responsibly campaign my college requires, and the narrator sounded like Zach Libresco. How much do I have to pay to get Zach Libresco to read my version of the whiskey speech that's now about how to drink responsibly?
Talk to Zach Libresco.
Yeah, that's a question
Yep.
for
Yeah.
Zach Libresco's Twitter feed.
Yes, let him know.
However, if I remember correctly from reading Zach Libresco's Twitter feed, I feel that you may have already found the answer to that. I think that if anybody goes to browse Zach Libresco's Twitter feed, you'll see a
It may be
conversation
there.
about these
That's pretty amazing.
public service announcements about drinking.
For the next 3 days, I still own PSA.fail.
No,
Oh,
really?
Zach,
Yeah, I don't
why?
think I'm going to re-up it. It's pretty dumb. My friend had an idea for a show. She never wrote it, though. That's right.
Oh, that's
Calling you
sad.
out, Leia.
Oh.
Not that you are a patron or watch this or ever will, but Now the universe knows.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah. All right. How did Hira? Oh, on the topic of crazy domain names, you can go to pod.how if you want my tips on how to podcast. It's pod.how.
Cool.
Pod.how. It's like $6. It's great. Podcast.how, hundreds of dollars a year.
Really?
Dumb.
How these things work.
Pod how? Anywho, how did Hera nearly manage to escape Goddard on Earth? Because she's a bouse. Not done with the question. How can a computing system run away? I am guessing the physical equipment in which she was housed wouldn't be very mobile.
You would guess right.
You would guess correctly.
Yes.
My
Yes.
understanding, my headcanon as it were, is that the software would in the sort of like AI run amok trope get out into the world and live sort of as a ghost in the machine on distributed servers and sort of be impossible to kill and kind of live forever so long as there were drives and stuff and networks to kind of connect.
That is a very good headcanon. This is one of those things where I have an idea.
Yes. A headcanon,
In many
right?
ways, I am happy to let whatever people imagine an AI jailbreak looks like to look
Yeah.
like.
I know
Um,
myself well enough to know that my idea of it is not technologically correct.
Yeah.
So I have an idea of what it means, and I fully understand that probably makes no sense.
Is it a hard
Yeah.
drive getting shot out of the bay like a toaster over the
No.
over the fence
No.
and then landing in the grass and
Um,
Hero just being like, "Damn it, I should have thought this through."
No.
And who knows?
Sorry,
This may
guys.
be. With that said, this is something that we might end up exploring in future episodes.
Who knows? Yeah.
Or I think it would also be a really good material for a mini episode if we ever get to the point where
Yeah, where we make.
we reach our stretch goal of making mini episodes
Yeah.
between each full episode.
Oh my god, what a stretch
I think that the
goal
details
that would
of
be.
her jailbreak
That would be an interesting
would be
thing to explore.
pretty bomb mini episode.
Yeah.
We should make a new stretch goal. I forget what our highest one is, but after that we should make the mobile game.
That's after the $20,000
After
a
the
month.
$20,000
Yeah,
a month.
the 50,000 a month one.
Okay.
That should be we make the video game. Anyway, I'm spitballing.
That's fine.
That'd be cool. That'd be a way to keep the Patreon alive. How did Hira nearly manage to? No,
You
we
just
did
read
that
that
one.
one.
That's why my cursor is on it. Let's see. How would each of you respond to being given the opportunity to go into space?
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler, very positive, for me alone. Maybe I don't. We actually haven't talked about it. I don't think. Did we?
Finish
no, we
it?
did. Anyway.
We have.
Oh
We
yeah,
have,
we
we
have. And then we yeah, okay, you're Paris, aren't you? Jeez, waste. Anyway, what rank/position would each cast member hold on the
Ooh,
Hephaestus?
That's interesting.
That's
I would
a better question.
Yeah, that's a much better
probably still
question.
have the comms department from a technological perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
And to answer the first part, I would want details of what this space entailed. I would absolutely go spend some time on the International Space Station. One-way trip to Mars, I'm less down for,
Yeah.
but
You name it, I'm there.
My line continues to be, I would love to go to space. I will not do it until it's in that air travel space of, statistically, it is by far the
safest
way
form.
to travel.
I would take some risk to go to space, but not
No,
a lot of risk.
I'd risk my life to
No.
go to space.
I would need to have a guarantee.
There are no guarantees.
I know, but still, I would. Want one.
You
No.
still want one. I can give you one even though it's not worth anything.
From someone who has more of a legal liability to being wrong with their Guarantees Act.
Okay, I see you. And your logical
half.
acceptance of guarantees that come with any kind of guarantee,
Lord.
even if slim.
To say,
Okay.
ranks on the Hephaestus.
Ranks on Hephaestus. Let's
Yeah.
see.
I'd be communications officer. My thing is I am totally captivated by space. I think that in the next 200 years, the story of humanity will be either off-world or into the crust / under the water, and mindfulness will be very important in either of those scenarios.
Word.
So start practicing now. Yeah, I think that long term, should we not kill ourselves, off-world is an inevitability. If we don't kill ourselves, which is a very big question.
Well said.
And I'm
Yes,
really
indeed.
excited to see the blue marble from a distance.
See, the problem though is that like I feel that a lot of the roles for which me and Sarah's temperament are
Oh,
right
we are
for,
not at all suited for by.
we're so unqualified.
Yeah, by skill and training. No.
Like I feel that in many ways we would be in the like Hui and Fourier spot more than
Yeah.
anything else.
But we're not scientists.
So
We have nothing
laughably
to
inept
contribute.
when it comes
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I could probably snag a like third camera on Werner Herzog's one-way trip to Mars 360 epic.
I don't think that that's a Hephaestus position.
No,
Zach,
that's
unless-
not a Hephaestus
no,
position.
no.
No, like your
Yeah.
comms department, and
No,
this
no,
is
I
this
realize.
is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is known and
Yeah.
and yeah,
I'm just thinking about reasonable ways I might actually get to space.
gotcha.
Werner Herzog's Best Boy on the documentary
Don't
on
do it.
Elon Musk's journey to his grave.
Lord. But yeah, I mean, I feel like
Yeah,
Cece
well,
is still the captain, Emma is still the commander.
Yeah.
Um, Michaela is probably still like
Running everything.
running everything, because that's what she does.
Yep.
Yeah, the cast is very well suited to the positions that their characters have.
Indeed.
Funny thing about casting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We're starting to wind down here on the questions front.
Yeah, so if you have any other questions you would like us to
Send them
answer,
in.
put them in the chat.
In fact, we're down to the last two.
Oh, wow.
Alrighty. We got I recently found out Zach turned 27 this year. Thank you for the super late. You're saying happy super late birthday, by the way. Thank you for that. That's awesome. I just turned 28, and while my life is pretty neat, I am mildly panicking that I haven't achieved anything nearly as awesome as Wolf 359. Any life advice in general or creative advice for someone who isn't very creative yet would like to be in particular? Well, speaking as somebody who doesn't feel very creative but would like to be more all the time, just start doing stuff like nothing. And it doesn't have to be big.
No.
If you were watching Self Care Sunday earlier, I regurgitated an idea that a friend put me onto from a Reddit post, which is about having no 0 days. And the idea of a 0 day is pick something that you love or are passionate about or want to get good at, like writing, like whatever. No days where you don't do... No days doing nothing with that thing. And a non-0 day can be writing one freaking word. And just start there. It's like, if you want to run a marathon, can you make it down the block? Was a question that a coach of a friend
Yeah.
got on my radar. That's like, yeah, just like start where you are.
And I would say like the worst one, maybe not the worst, but a really crippling and unhelpful thing to do is to focus on your age and your level of creativity relative to other people. If you ever figure out how to not do that, let
Right.
me know.
Oh my
Because
God.
I'm mildly panicking too. Don't
Yeah.
you worry. I'm older than both these guys. And I panic all the time. And it really is not a race that someone's going to win. We all get creative
Yeah.
when we do it. And we all are building muscle all the time. So as much as you can, be kind to yourself. And don't worry about the fact that, you're 28. I'm 28. Like, we're all going to get there.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. That's awesome. I just remind
As
myself...
the baby of the
yeah.
bunch, I'm just here to say it's important to start early, and if you haven't
Ah.
done it, no, I'm kidding. Sorry,
Important
Zach, you were about to say
beat
something.
Wonderkins
I was
with
just gonna
poles.
say, Haruki Murakami's story really freaking inspired me to be like, wow, it's all gonna be okay. There are no wrong choices in life. Dude owned and ran a bar and worked super hard with his wife, just owning and running a bar.
Yeah.
And then one day at a baseball game decided he would try this fiction thing, and now he's like a genius fiction writer. And it's one of those things where it's like, what was he, 50 when he did that? At least in his I'm just like, point being, everybody is in their own race, and hearing stories like that and sort of starting to like ferret out more and more stories like that for myself has been good fucking medicine for comparing myself to people we graduated with, people that have left school later than I have that are crushing it in ways that I'm jealous of. You're never, and like, there's always going to be a bigger fish. It's the one thing those prequel Star Wars movies got right.
Yeah. No, and
Well
I think that, there's all kinds of stories about, like, this person hadn't written a single thing until they were 48, and then they won an Academy Award for writing. This person hadn't,
Directed a film until they were 40, and then they just started doing all of them.
Right, and there's
Yeah.
even a lot of stories that are like, this person was an actor, and then, like, at age 40, they were like, I don't think I want to do this. I want to go be a scientist, got their degree, and then, made a huge contribution to physics when they were in their,
Right.
like, mid-50s.
Yeah.
You really are, like, just, like, in a race with yourself, and you can reinvent yourself, and you can start over, and there is time to make it all happen.
Yes.
I think that there is a really sort of like harmful fiction. I think it is a fiction that all great contributions are made by people who are kind of like brilliant because they're touched by God. And kind of one of the like big indicators of someone being touched by God is that they are brilliant at an unbearably early age, the way
Right.
that Mozart was brilliant. But really, no, there's all kinds of people who are late bloomers. And I think really depressingly, there's a lot of people who are early peakers.
Yes.
Who kind of like, do something and then like, are then forever haunted by, I put out that one musical album that was brilliant and I had no idea how to go from there. And between those two, I would much rather be a late bloomer
Right.
than sort of have like this one great thing that you did that you were just like forever haunted by. I don't even know how to begin approaching that ever
Right.
again.
The one-hit wonder
Yeah.
child actor situation.
No, because
Yeah.
that can like really
mess
forever
people up.
destroy
Yeah.
Right.
and cripple
Psychologically.
someone's
Yeah.
artistic life.
Yeah.
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 Marathon, not a sprint.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
And I guess I would just say, like, just for more tactical, less higher level advice, take a look around you who's like a phone call or Facebook message away that's doing work that you think is cool or is trying to get better at a genre or a medium that you want to get good at, and see what they're doing next weekend and see
Yeah.
if they want to spitball. And
Safety in numbers, man.
Right. Like, I would, rather than focus on the result of, I wish I had big achievement work thing to be proud of, think about the activities and the relationships and the blocks in your calendar that would sort of like working backwards from that big vision be what it would look like in time and space,
Yeah.
and start putting your attention on that, and just like start, and like I think the No Zero Days is a great way to just like gauge how you're doing early on in that sort of
Yeah. And building the
journey.
habit, which
Yeah,
is
exactly
the first really big hurdle to get over.
right. Just making sure all things are chill.
Alright.
Yeah, we're okay. Just making sure that sometimes when things go bad in the stream, I don't notice the chat, and people tell me the truth on the Twitters. Anywho, this is the last question we have here, so I will peek up
Look
at
at the chat.
the
Yeah.
chat, and we'll hang out for a bit to answer that. But what are everyone's plans after Wolf 359?
What an
Expect-
exciting question that no one has asked
I
us.
expect
yet.
this question in every
Shake, shake,
AMA
shake,
from
shake.
here on out.
Ask again later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long story short, we don't know yet. We are still kind of in the middle of making this show happen, which is as much of a monster as it's ever been. And
In many ways, even more,
More
so.
so now, yeah.
Yeah.
and that's not to say we don't have ideas, dreams, hopes, desires. I think we all are, as film graduates, excited to play around with cameras at some point.
Yep.
Whether that's after Wolf 359 or after what's after Wolf 359,
We will see.
We'll see.
we will see.
Yep. But yeah, I think that, like, needless to say, there's a couple of ideas and there's a couple of projects
Yeah.
and a couple of proposals. None of them are quite in that Wolf 359 space of, this is something that we can do right now. Let's just go do it.
Yeah.
No, they're another order of magnitude that we wanted the problem of in
Yep.
doing
It's a
Wolf
great
359. So yeah, so that's there. What else did I want to say about that? Was there anything? Maybe not. I think the point is, even though we are going to retire the Patreon at some point, with your consent, we will add you to whatever mailing list we end up creating so that you are the first to hear whatever the heck that is.
Yeah.
Because obviously we have no intention of disappearing from the earth of internet creation and media production.
Yeah.
And we...
Nor of going our separate ways, I think.
Right. I was going to say, I think we all really enjoy working together, and I think as all bands that we love look like, there are solo albums, there are spin-offs, there are, reunion tours, there are all sorts of ways that I think the Wolf
And
359
then there's new albums.
Yeah.
Where
alumni...
everyone
Right.
kind of gets back together and they make a new album.
Right.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I think like the Wolf 359 alumni will be working together as long as we're interested in working.
And as
Um,
long as we can.
As long as we
work
can.
Together. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Lord knows, like, as long as people in this cast and crew are willing to return my phone calls, I will keep putting them in things.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Thanks for asking. Feel free to ask again. Can't promise we're gonna have any more specific of an answer than that.
Until we can. Until we have it.
Until we do.
And one thing
Well,
that
we'll
you
tell
can
you.
probably count on, because it's been going pretty well, is that my live stream series here on this YouTube channel, which, if you're not subscribed, subscribe.
Do it.
It's cool. I do it every Sunday, Self Care Sunday. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. It's way easier than the videos I was making on YouTube, and has been a lot of fun. And so, yeah, that's probably going to definitely keep happening. And I may or may not... I'd like to bring back the talk radio podcast that I was doing, Focused AF, which you can find at focused.af. 60 Days of Madness, which was carried on most of y'all's love and support and ratings and reviews, and it was really fun.
Cool.
I'd love to get back to it. Cool. Chat questions. We got some.
Oop.
Whoop.
Man down.
Careful.
Okay, we're okay. Crazy pressure to decide your entire future.
Oh, I think that's a
question,
comment.
That's a statement.
Yeah.
About the time loop.
Uh-huh.
Did the rest of the world experience it, or just the Hephaestus? Did time pass for everyone else? Basically, was the time dilation situation local to Wolf 359, if I'm understanding the question correctly, or was it universe-wide, galaxy-wide?
Depends on how powerful the aliens are.
Yes.
And I
Whether
think
they can
this
do it.
is in the domain of it would be telling.
It would be.
Yes, it would be.
In my headcanon, it is a space local thing that if you're watching from Earth would be like, that's weird.
Right, but
It's weird.
if Loveless was in the loop for 50 days, for example, not saying that is how many she was in,
Right. That's just a number.
with your headcanon, Cutter, for example, would have experienced 50 days, not one.
Right. And my headcanon is that is how that would go. Basically, like anybody who's not like sort of in the relatively immediate vicinity of the star would be unaffected.
Yeah.
And yes, and that is just the thought that I have. But
It's a good theory.
I think what is the difference between those two worlds, like for people, is I think a more challenging question. Like what does it sort of mean either way?
I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you have any other questions, put them in the chat.
So,
Now is the time.
say Anne Eiffel didn't age anymore?
I mean, we could say that.
Wait, why would she not age?
Why would she not age?
I don't know. Maybe Cutter inducted her into the
No.
ageless club.
No.
Alright.
No.
How old in current canon is Anne Eiffel?
That's telling.
That would be telling. Yes.
Right, because time loop.
Oh,
they're
okay.
saying.
Yeah, I would not worry so much about aging as regards the time loop.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't worry about that.
No, at the end of the day, I think that like the only two feasible options are either everyone in the universe experienced that as one day except for Loveless,
Yeah.
or everyone, or the other sort of like possible end result is everyone and Loveless experienced that as 50 days, and Minkowski, Hira, Eiffel, Kepler, and Jacobi
Just
just
forgot
all
about it.
forgot 49 days.
Yeah.
Effectively, those are, I think, the only two viable alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm like, space-time, all relative, could be that time actually reset locally in one corner of the universe, causing problems, but I don't know.
Not elsewhere.
But I think that like effectively, like in terms of like what the effects of that would be, I think that ultimately it would come down to everyone experienced 50 days, and the Hephaestus crew just like does not remember 49 of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, everyone experienced only one day and Loveless remembers 50 iterations of it. Of the same
Right.
day. It's one it's one
Yeah,
of the other.
my what I don't follow in that, Gabrielle, is I think they wouldn't be aging.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not even really thinking about aging at all. Right, and that would, I think, be more of an issue if the time loop went on for like multiple years.
Yeah.
Yes.
If-
Okay, now I see what you're saying. No,
Right.
they wouldn't age.
No.
Right. And
Yeah.
my thing is like I think the aliens are like, we could break out the like super power plant, but like we're not there yet. Like this is like just hook up the like the portable generator and let's just like, zap these fools.
That's a theory you can have.
Yes, that is
And
my
that
theory.
and the superpower generator is the one where everybody in the universe.
Right. Like, I'm not clear whether the aliens have the ability to freeze the entire universe, but if they did, I feel like the stakes for from their perspective are low enough that they're like,
That they wouldn't
"Meh,
bother.
Like, let's use
Yeah.
the double A's on this one.
Right.
No need to go to the wall outlet for this.
Oh,
enough.
totally. And
Fair enough.
it's a very safe bet to see that we have, in the words of like Sterling Archer, anything that we've seen the aliens do as far as their technology and their power, like qualifies barely as like not even half-assed, but like 1/8 ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
This is like at best them turning on the flashlight on their cell phone.
Yeah, like we have not seen them roll up their sleeves and like really get down to business.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Mystery, intrigue, space.
So much. Wow.
My ideal internship. Werner, I'm waiting. Like Werner Herzog's reaction to Elon Musk's like announcement that I'm going to Mars. He's like, "Take me with you." It was like totally.
Did he
where I live.
actually say that?
Did he say that?
I thought that I saw that, or somebody mentioned what if would you go to like Mars? He's like, yes, I would. Like he's like really earnest about it, like kind of aggressively
I
like
believe that to be
like
true.
don't joke about this. This is my
Oh,
dream.
Lord. Yeah, it looks like somehow you are right, Zach.
Ooh. We got a question.
Uh-huh.
A bit off topic, but what's the spooky cat poster behind Zach?
Thank you. It is spooky.
I'm really glad you asked. It says cats
Oh,
are
Lord.
people too.
I haven't even seen that. That is spooky.
Oh,
and
what do you
wrong.
mean spooky? It's a great draw. It's
It is a cat looking like it knows how your life is
One
going
second.
to end.
Yeah, really though.
I have a
Like, this
bunch
was-
of them all over my house now. So these are the only things that I wanted from the late Julia Sheldon, the woman that I used to read to, who previously owned Tiffany, who threatened to haunt me if I didn't take care of her cat. There we go. And she has this series of drawings that all say, like, cats are people too. She has an unfinished one up the stairwell that's a bulldog that says dogs are people too. So yeah, this is cats are people too. I was thinking about making it as a limited run T-shirt.
Of course.
That I think Etsy would go ape F over, but I think they're great. What's creepy is that there are a bunch of roach eggs on the back that aren't still alive, but she had a really bad roach infestation, and because she was
No.
because she was stubborn and legally blind, she denied this reality pretty much every time. I was like, I really appreciate all of this food that you got, Julia, but it's covered with roaches, and I'm sort of obligated to be here for the next 3 hours, so horrified? And she's like, there aren't roaches. I'm like, I am looking at them with my eyes. And she's like,
With your eyeballs.
yeah, she's like, nope, we had the exterminator last week. I'm like, that's interesting, because eyes, seeing them. Actually, they're on the chair also. I would kind of love to leave now. And then, like, 2 weeks later, I'd come back, and the entire house would be covered in roach poison that
Hooray.
Tiffy could walk in, which is why she probably has some neurological damage. Because, yeah, I have so many stories about my time with Julia. She's amazing, and also problematic, as many faves are. But yeah, her art was wonderful. She was a full-time illustrator before she got macular degeneration and started going blind, and lived in a house filled with her own art that broke my heart. Look at that, rhyming. But
Yeah.
I wiped the roaches. They're not hatched. They're just gross. So I just like scraped it off as many of the shells as I could before I nailed them to the wall. Anywho, I refuse to answer the question of how many domain names I have. That is my personal business, and we will not speak of this.
Too many.
It is too many.
many.
I am starting to divest my portfolio. I am starting to breach the emoluments clause simply by sheer volume. I don't really understand how that's possible, but but it's that many, and it's bad, and it's okay because I get sales. That doesn't help.
Yes. Also, Zach, just to be clear about what you were saying earlier, I looked up the article, and Herzog said that he wanted to go on a one-way flight to Mars
Mm-hmm.
to Elon Musk, not like in reaction.
Yeah.
to what
No, it's to Elon
said,
Musk.
but like to the man
Right,
himself.
like he was interviewing him, and he's like,
Yes.
"Would you like to come to?" Like both in their great accents were like, "Would you like to come to Mars?" And he's like, "No, it is not optional."
I would come along. I wouldn't have problem. One-way ticket. I'd be your candidate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cannot do a German accent. I am
So
so
great.
sorry to anyone who just heard that like speaks German.
I mean, but that's the beautiful thing about Werner Herzog
He's-
accents is that the more absurd they are, the better.
it's so good. Yeah, I feel like it transcends
Yeah, it's not a
a
German
nationality.
accent.
It
It's
is
not
a Werner Herzog voice.
Yes.
If anyone has any other questions to get us out of this,
Please
now is
ask
the
them now.
time.
And we're gonna wrap up in a couple minutes, so this is
Yeah.
indeed
This
the
is
time.
the time.
And
This
it's,
is the
as
time.
always, been
If we
a
missed your question, please
ball.
put them back in
Yep,
the chat.
yep,
Yes.
yep,
It does move.
It's been a ball.
Yeah, it's been
and
lovely,
we really
you guys.
appreciate you guys and really love your support. Oh, the magnets thing. So I was trying to use magnets for Project Uplift. I'm building a new tower, and I thought that they'd be a convenient way to keep the tube shut. And if I were a better engineer, I might have figured out how. I think really they're just a bad solution for this problem. And it was really hot, and it was a long day of working on this thing. And they're, strips of magnets. They're like flexible strips. And they probably slipped off of one of the surfaces that we were sort of like shepherding things back into my apartment from my backyard and slipped onto the ground, and somebody thought it was a piece of garbage and threw it away. Or it's stuck to something in my apartment and I haven't found it yet, which would be great because I have 30 days to return it and get my money back, and they're very expensive, and I hope I find it. I hope that answers your question. I think I was thorough.
You were.
Awesome. Last questions going once. Last questions going twice. Aw, Alicia
Thanks,
Workman.
Alicia.
Really appreciate that. That means
Yeah.
a lot.
Y'all are.
Gabrielle, for no vision of the chat purposes, Alicia Workman says, I love you guys a lot, and you're my favorite creators. Please know that I think you guys are capitals the best, and I am making a heart with my hands at all y'all right now. Last questions going thrice. Well,
All right, that's it.
it's been real, you guys. Until next
is-
month, the love is real. And
Yeah,
we just,
thank you guys so much. It means the world that you guys are here. It means the world that you guys are on Patreon. Like,
Yeah,
we can't get
seriously.
over it. So thank you.
One thing that I had a thought about is you guys should let us know through Patreon message or this chat or otherwise what you'd like to learn, especially if you're in the tutorials tier, because we have things that we can do, and we're going to be doing it all. And if you guys have input, we could do
Yeah,
that
let us know.
thing. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, until next time.
Be well. Thank you guys
Much
so
love.
much.
Can we find out who's going to Dragon Con, because we're curious? Right now, it's, I think, definitely the three of us.
Yes.
And everybody else is still deciding, figuring out, working it out.
Yeah.
We will let
Hopefully
you know.
it will be more than the three of us.
Yes,
but-
it will be more than the three of us, but we do not want to falsely promise people who seem like they are likely to go, but
May or may not.
have some things come up at the last minute, because that's the worst.
It's pretty bad.
So yeah, I would, if you're dealing with logistics, plan to see the three of us, and hopefully you'll get more, because that'd be sweet.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Peace, yo.
Later.
Love ya.